Every high and crushing low taught me something invaluable: resilience. I began documenting my journey, recording every lesson and every step towards rebuilding my success and my mental, even if no one else was watching. I didn't know where this path would lead, but I had Frank, Rosario, and the memories of everything I built and lost, fueling my determination. What you're about to see is my journey, the highs, the lows, and every moment in between, captured during a time when I was all alone, but never defeated. I'm going to get back to being a millionaire. No matter what, I will make it.
How's it going, guys? This is another video. It's been a good minute, only because, like, I don't know, I'm just not used to like doing them all the time, because it feels like nothing's really changed in a lot of circumstances, even though when things do change. But I do want to give that update like usual. So here we go. Sorry about my face. I'm like breaking out and shit. It's the normal summer shit. This is where we're at, guys. So to get ready for this one. This one's gonna be a very interesting ride. So this is where we're at. Bitcoin is doing whatever Bitcoin does. It is falling or whatever. We are at $68,746.60. Ethereum is at 3,400 or 3,000. Yeah, $3,484. And yeah, it's looking rough out there, not gonna lie. So what's going on? Not a lot. There's a lot of it, like I said, is a lot of the same stuff. I think the biggest thing is, you know, the last month or two, you guys have seen that I think I talked about it, but I've been trying to apply for jobs. I've been going and doing interviews for a couple of places, but really just applying for jobs. I think I've applied for almost 10 jobs now in the last month and a half. 10 jobs, and I've gotten no interviews off the ones that I've talked about in the videos. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on with the job market? First off, it's crazy. Like, I don't understand it. Secondly, you know, I'm dealing with all this stuff with Frank right now and the business still. We just paid the bankruptcy lawyer, but now we got to figure out how to get him his taxes and sort some stuff out and figure all that bullshit out. And so that's all fucked to a degree. And then I gotta figure out a lot of other stuff too, just about my situation in general. But it's just been one thing after another, and it hasn't been fun to a degree. And but I got my car stuff paid, which is nice because Frank helped out with that. So I got my car paid, I got my registration paid. And that's all I really care about at the moment. But it's still one of those things where it's like, I'm still grinding every day on Uber Eats and DoorDash, which have been subpar as of the last couple of days. And it's just been annoying not being able to get a job, and then also having to put up with all the other bullshit. Like, I don't know why it's so hard to get a job right now. It really doesn't make any sense, and especially a sales job like phones or whatever. Like, I've applied for everything that I know I can be good at, and I haven't gotten a single interview off of any of that stuff. So I have no clue what's going on, or why any of this stuff is happening the way it's happening. Some good news though is that our one shot came top 10. I'm really just sharing the good news for the rest of the stuff. So one shot is top 10 out of everything right now. And the polling or the voting has closed, which means it's official. We are now a top 10 one shot. Hopefully we get published in this app that basically reached out to us to basically publish us. and in their own thing. It's not going to be monetized, but it's just going to be published out. And then later this month, when I have time, I'll figure out how we can go ahead and publish the physical copies. And then after the physical copies, go ahead and make another one-shot. But for right now, I'm taking it easy. I'm taking my time and figuring everything out, seeing what else I can do in the time being. The other big thing that's happening this month, which kind of out of a surprise, out of nowhere almost, is this stuff with Voyagers. And I really do think that this, because I'm so passionate about it, it's gravitated, what I need, here and there. Like the people that, want to help or whatever are helping. And so hopefully the goal is to launch it on the 20th of April. So I only got a couple of weeks, but it gives me a time constraint, and it makes me like have to go. So I have $500 left. It's the only $500 I have, and I could probably be putting it to other good uses, but I'm just saying, you know what, I'm just gonna use this honestly, what would I use the $500 for? I would use it normally for fixing this with my computer and getting it up. That would be the only thing I could think of right now that I could use it practically to make money. And I was thinking, you know what, if I can use this $500 to go ahead and start my own token, that way I don't need to be on the side of having crowdfunding for NFT project, which would be $100,000 or more just to get started. I can just basically start my token and use that as crowdfunding, because people will have interest and get into it and want to know more and try to develop that, and it'll be its own self-sustaining project. So I'm going to start with the token and see how that goes. If anything, I'll still make my money back, but it's just one of those things where it's like you never know where it's going to go, and hopefully people like what I'm going to do, and what I still have to plan out a couple extra things, but for the last 2 weeks I've been planning out how I want that to go, aside from the pitch that I was trying to do for Optimism. So I have to change a lot of the structure around from tokens and stuff like that in order to get it to be where it needs to be. But I'm excited about it. This is one of the first times I'm really pushing myself to kind of complete pretty much everything. Kind of like how I did with a couple other projects, but this one's more so you need to do this because this is life or death. You could either make it big or you can go home sore loser. And so I'm not taking the sore loser approach. I'm really trying to go all in on this and make it something worthwhile. And the cool thing is, I got my buddy Pixidox, or his company, AJ with Pixidox. He's been really, really cool with being you know what, dude, I believe in what you do. I saw your pitch. I loved everything that you're trying to do here, and I could see it. I could see a partnership here. And I said, okay, cool. And before that, he was like, you know what, I'm cool with going ahead and trying to model or animate and stuff for free a little bit so that we can get some stuff going. And I was like, cool. But instead of doing that, let's go ahead and go, practically 50-50. I need 51%, so that's the only reason why it would be a 55-45% partnership. But just so that way no one can sell everything, and then basically it's no majority for me, obviously. But we're going to start up this token. He's going to help me with the liquidity pool portion of it. But I think, and I might have Mike and Rowena, the two investors who I helped get on Shiba, and they kind of lost a lot, pretty much everything on Shiba, get them in on this so that way they can kind of make their money back. At least at the very minimum, they'll make their initial, money that they had prior. I think Mike, he lost his crypto wallet that had somewhere around $5,000 to $10,000, and then Ro, she lost $9,000 to Mexi, and I think I talked about all that stuff. It was really dumb shit with fucking Mexi. But anyways, trying to help them get their money back, and trying to, because they're the people that I got into crypto, and now I wouldn't say they're addicted to it, but it's like it's a big part of all of our lives. And I feel like if I do well, the people who helped, who believed, who were there, not necessarily like helped out and stuff like that, but it's like they would be helping out in this if they go ahead and give me a little bit of cash, just so that way I have enough running money to go ahead and get this project going. But them helping in any way, financially on that, just even a small portion, because I'm having them do like maybe like $200 if they can afford that, to help me out with this, so that way we can all prosper, so that way we can all, be good on this. And it's rough, man. It's rough to try to, get all this stuff going and still have everything in the background, like with Frank and all this other stuff. It's like, what if it does become, big? What if it does, where am I going? What's going to happen? It's those questions that I have to think in my head. If I become wealthy at some point, do I just leave? Do I just get out of the situation? What do I do? I still don't have the answer to that, unfortunately. I wish it was just an easy decision, like, yep, just get up and leave. But no, that would be like leaving a portion of my family behind for, that's just not me. So hopefully I can figure out a solution that is like, amicable. If I get to that thing, I'd rather do what I love to do than to go ahead and uphold the position of the company that Frank's trying to build. But it's one of those things where it's like it's a catch-22, because I don't win either way, right? I don't win either way. The only reason I'm doing a lot of this stuff right now is because I kind of enjoy it to some level, but at the same time it's kind of like, I don't have a reason not to right now. And I also, I'm low-key forced to, not in a super bad way, but low-key just don't really have I don't have anything outside of that to not go ahead and do that. So I don't know. I'm just confused, because I don't know what I would do. And I would want to pursue my passion, I know that. I'd want to, get films up and work on projects and stuff like that. So it's like, that's where my mind would be at. That's where, and I would have to get a place and, all this other stuff. So, the most that I can do in a scenario like that is basically buy a piece of land, like a decent piece of land, and basically say, you know what, this is your piece of land. You can have this piece of land, and then it's yours. And you can do what you want with it, but I can't really do much more than that. Something like that, of that degree, of that sort. Because doing any more than that would put me in a position where I'd be losing money. And I can't really also make it too obvious that I'd be rich, because I feel like that might eventually, people, even though they're nice and stuff like that, they tend to hate you when you have money that could go to them, because they think that they know where it could be used better. So I'd rather not have anyone hate me because I don't do something for them. I'd rather do something for them, something just regular, decent, and then basically just leave it at that and say, and just have it be like, I did this for you though, not throw it in their face, but I'm just saying, have it just be that, where it's like, I did this and I feel good about it, and I feel like we could just keep it there, but we'll see. I think that's what I would do though. Or buy cheap. It really depends on how much money I have, but even if I had like 20 or 30,000, I would go ahead and buy or put a down payment towards a piece of land or something and transfer it to his name. He'd pay the taxes and stuff on it, but that's your land. You do what you want with it. You know, if you're ever in need, you have a trailer, you have a home and stuff like that, you have something to go back to. Having land is a powerful thing. So, you know, but yep, it's just something I have to think about. I don't think it's like gonna be too big of a thing, especially if like I have a lot of money. I could hire somebody to basically manage, you know, be a PA to Frank. But that'd be the biggest thing. But more than likely, I would just hire a PA. I think that would be the solution. But I have no clue. It's getting dark, isn't it? But yeah, I would just hire a PA. I think that would be my go-to. But again, I'm still not sure. You know, I'm still not sure what I would do. I just don't want to leave abruptly and say, hey, yeah, we've been, you know, kicking ass for like 3 or 4 years, but at the same time, you know, yeah, I'm not doing any of this stuff anymore. It'd kind of be like a shock, even though I've told Frank multiple times that I don't really want to go super headstrong with things. If anything, I would manage. I would be like a chairman or something, just oversee stuff, but I would not want to handle like the day-to-day operations or anything like that. I would just want the people in the places that they need to be. But I'm not too sure, man. It's a fucked situation regardless. So aside from that and the manga and stuff, Render's been doing decent. Render's been okay. It's been slow, but every week or so I've been getting like about, you know, $100 here and there. So I mean, it's okay. I'm hoping to go ahead and set up my my money shit again, but I need to wait until I can go ahead and just get my priorities set. Every time I try to invest my money, I end up having to take it out for some weird reason. And it's always been that case, and I really hate it. Like, it's the most annoying thing. So I don't know what I'm going to do, you know, at the moment with like investing and stuff, because it's like I need to go ahead first and just work on the projects that I'm doing right now and finish this animation and all this other stuff before I really go headstrong with everything. So I'm really in a conundrum. I just am, and it is what it is. But you know, I'm trying in every single avenue. I'm just trying to fucking make it, man. It's so exhausting, but I have to do it, because if I don't, I'll literally go crazy. You know, I'm reaching, the funny thing is, through this whole experience, you know, everything, the last, you know, 2 to 3 years now, you know, I'm reaching a point of like, I feel like if I fail at this, and I feel like I kind of failed on my manga, because at the end of the day, it's still what I want. It's still the same thing, you know. It's still the same thing where it's like, if I don't win a prize or I don't get money for it, what was the point of spending all that time and money for the last 6 months on that when I could have done something else? You know, that's a waste of 6 to 7 months of time. And, you know, that would feel very, like, unproductive as far as trying to make money. And it's a shitty thing where it's like, oh, I did something I love, I should be happy, you know, 7th place. But, you know, it gets to the point where now it's like, okay, it's over. You know, time to either do something new and try to get first place, or don't do that ever again until you get enough money to where, you know, it kind of pays off. Or, I had the idea that it would be cheaper. I think the main thing there was to complete something for myself personally, to complete something in its entirety and fulfill the mission that I started, because I have a nasty habit. Of starting things and not finishing them. You know, having them be incomplete. And I really wanted to change that pattern, change that cycle. And so I changed that with the manga, with the one shot, and I'm gonna change that with Voyagers. You know, follow through with exactly what I said I was gonna do. you know. And I think I've been more consistent on that, like following through with what you know, what I say I'm gonna do, what I'm dreaming and what I'm thinking about, than anything right now. I've been really, really good on that stretch, so I'm really happy about that. But it's like, and that's a really nice point of growth for me. But for everything else, it's like, you know, everything else is in limbo, and I'm still just holding strong. But it's hard, man. It is hard. You know, I wouldn't say I'm tired of it, because I don't think you could really ever be tired, you know, of feeling this way once you've hit, you know, rock bottom. But it's one of those things where it's like, you know, when is it gonna happen, I guess, is the best way to put it. When am I gonna get out of this mess? When is the curse gonna be lifted? Fuck, when am I gonna get just a date in general? The only reason I say that and I bring that up is because it's honestly been so weird. The dating scene as well out here is just, at least for me, you know, I nothing, zilch, you know. And again, I think I've talked about this once or twice before in another video, but it's like, I'm not a bad looking dude, right? I'd say I'm average, 4 or 5, somewhere around that range. If you want to give me higher points, cool. But I'm like, bro, I've seen worse dudes get really nice. Maybe they're rich, maybe that's the whole thing, but it's like, I don't want my entire mindset to be like, I have to be rich to have everything, because that's not how the world works. You know, there are people that have a lot of stuff just based off of fucking hard work and stuff. But I guess the thing I'm seeing right now and is annoying is that, you know, no matter how hard I work, no matter how much money I have at the time, you know, what's funny is the time that I did have fucking leisure and money and had time to do stuff, you know, I did actually have more women around me, which is funny, you know. But I think it's because I don't have access, or not access, I don't hang out, I don't socialize, I don't do as much because I'm so focused in fucking this money mode. And I think that is what annoys me in a sense, because I know a lot of people, you know, even just watching this or whatever, you're like, I would hate to have a person like that who's just always on the grind set mindset, you know. And maybe not, you know, but if I were your friend and I was always in the grind set, sorry I can't be there, or sorry I can't do this, you know, I try to get out at least once a month, thanks to my boy Mike. You know, he's very outgoing. Him and Kath are very outgoing, his wife. But, you know, I try to get out at least once a month to try to break that, you know, cycle, and at least give myself some, even though I regret it usually most of the time because of money. But it's one of those things where it's like, I have to keep myself, like, I gotta, like, keep myself grounded in certain aspects, you know, in order to keep my mindset the same way. Because if I didn't have this mindset, like I said, I'd be ruined. I'd actually be ruined. Just mentally, just distraught. I would really be depressed. This is the only shit that really distracts me from that depression. And obviously I feel it sometimes. And I just put it into other things, games, league, whatever I can do, writing a little bit, you know, drawing here or whatever. All that has to do with depression. You know, spending time on TikTok or dating apps or whatever, or just sleeping in general, all that stuff has to do with depression. But I don't let it consume me. There might be like one day or whatever that I'm like, oh fuck, here it is, it's hit me, you know. But I don't try, I try my best to try to distract myself, because that's the only way that I could see myself, you know, not falling for the trap of depression, which a lot of people fall for. A lot of people, they fall for the trap and they get consumed by it, and they start drinking a lot. They just go, like, it's carefree, you know, I don't matter, that type of shit. And that's a destructive mindset, you know. You know, the reason why I wake up every single day and I do this 9 to 10 hour grind every single day isn't for the money. It's the way I keep myself in the same mental state, because if I slip, it's not gonna be good, you know. And everything that I kept myself going on, you know, falls under me, and it becomes a rug pull, in crypto sense. So I'm not gonna let myself, you know, go to that. I'm gonna act like, you know, I have everything together, even if I don't. And I'm just gonna keep trucking by. But hopefully this year is my year. I know I said that so many times before, but honestly, I am getting worn out. I am. I am. I'm sorry. I know this is a little ranty, but I'm getting there. I'm getting tired. I'm starting to ask myself, what is the point if I keep on failing this much and not able to do anything and not able to socialize? You know, I don't want to be that 30-year-old, 40-year-old, or whatever that just hasn't done shit and is still working towards a goal that seems unachievable by that point, you know? So, you know, and I've been slacking on fucking working out and stuff. It's all really shitty, but I'm trying to work through it. That's the best. That's all I can say about that shit, you know? So, if you ever find yourself in a situation where, you know, life is really shitty, please find an outlet, a good outlet, like music, or a creative outlet, I should say. You know, drawing, music, something like that, because or games, but I do feel like games can be too addicting, so try not to. But then you got me talking about League of Legends, but I really don't. I'm not addicted to any games or whatever. I play them every day, so I don't know if that makes me addicted or not. But, you know, just find a creative outlet, because otherwise, if you have depression, it will consume you, and I don't want that for anyone, especially in a position where I'm at, where it's like, you know, like, I feel like if I had a job, all of this stuff would not even be an issue. But not being able to get a job now at this degree, like after 2 years, and I'm like, oh, let me go job search, you know. And the fucked up thing is that, I think I talked about it last time, but just in case I didn't, the fucked up part about the whole job search thing is that I could have had a job early last year, I think it was 2023, I talked about it. It was at the sports place, there was a gym or something, Sport 5 or something like that. I forget the place. Maybe it'll come back to me. But anyways, there was a gym that was doing a job. I went in there, got the interview, did the other interview. They were ready to hire me, and I said no. Like, I just didn't go back in. I didn't do anything, didn't follow up, didn't do anything, because I thought that the construction shit was gonna pop off and it was gonna be a better opportunity, because, you know, at that time I was getting about 3 to 6K a month, or at least for the first couple of months, and I said, this is better money than that. Why do that? And I was, oh man, if I was working there, I'd be so good right now. So it's one of those things where it's like, fuck, man, you know. And that might have been the sweet zone of the job market. And right now the job market's shit. So it's like, fuck, man. But yeah, if I get a job soon, I'll definitely make an update about it. But because that will literally change the course. And I talked about this before. Getting a job right now is the only thing that can really, really save me from everything. To where, you know, I don't really have to worry too much anymore. But we'll see. I even hit up my boy Mike. I said, dude, if you have at your wine company, if you can get me in, you know, I'll just let me do it, bro. I'll go in and I'll do it, because I need something right now. I just need something stable. It is what it is. Peace, guys. What the fuck? It is hailing. It is actually, it was like hailing for a second. I don't know if...
So if you thought the video was good, please give it a like and share. It really helps. And don't forget to subscribe so you can see the rest of the story unfold. This project is so close to my heart, and your support keeps it going. Thanks so much. With that being said, I'll see you guys next time in the archives of a Shiba Millionaire.
The truth is that if people really knew your story and all the things that you've been through, they'd probably wonder how on earth you're still smiling. It takes a very special person to keep going. You know that, and you also know how everything is going to work out. You have decided what kind of life you really want and learned to say no to everything that isn't that. You must be a huge success. Why? Because you've learned that to be successful at anything, and the truth is you don't have to be special. You just have to be what most people aren't. Consistent, determined, and willing to work for it. You understand that 20 years from now, you'd give anything to be this age again. Now, if no one else is going to tell you, I am. You're hearing it from me. I am proud of you now.